Winter here in the northern hemisphere, what a beautiful backdrop it can bring. But for most of us who are boaters, this is really not the kind of backdrop we're looking for. Welcome back guys, it is your boy Broncos Guru, and it's this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. Our first incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, where this past week the U.S. Coast Guard and several other agencies had to rescue 66 people who became stranded on ice floes out in the bay. Ice boats and helicopters were used to bring the people who were ice fishing to safety. 3 separate ice floes were actually created when cracks developed between the shore and the groups of fishermen. Coast Guard ice rescue teams from Sturgeon Bay and a Coast Guard cutter from Mobile Bay, 2 helicopters from Traverse City, Michigan, and the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, along with other government agencies, all assisted in the rescue, which took over 4 hours to complete. Helicopter crews lowered rescue swimmers to the ice to help coordinate rescue efforts as first local responders and the Coast Guard ice boats arrived. Due to the fast response by all these agencies, there were no injuries reported and everybody was brought back to the mainland safely. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us across the pond where our friends in the RNLI are at it again. This past week, the Peterhead RNLI lifeboat crew launched in foul weather conditions to rescue a 160-ton fishing vessel which was about to run aground on the rocks at the Peterhead Harbor breakwater. The Coast Guard received an alert of an emergency situation at the harbor entrance. A fishing vessel was towing another fishing vessel into Peterhead Harbor in foul weather and high waves when the tow line broke multiple times, and the vessel that was being towed had now become at risk of grounding into the rocks near the breakwater. The RNLI crew rushed to their station and launched and was on the scene within minutes. By the time they arrived, this fishing vessel was in peril of crashing into the rocks. Fortunately, the RNLI crew was able to successfully attach a tow in the first attempt, and they were able to bring this fishing vessel and crew back into port safely. Our next item to make the boating news this week is going to be a champion returns. That's right, we all know Michael Jordan from his days of taking the Chicago Bulls to several championships on the NBA basketball courts. But he's also a champion of another kind now, as his convertible Viking sport fishing yacht won its first sailfish tournament at the 57th Buccaneer in North Palm Beach, Florida. Catch 23, captained by Stetson Turney, and the team caught and released 7 different sailfish during the tournament, 2 of which were actually caught and released by Michael Jordan himself. This will be the team's first win after their previous high finish was 3rd place in the tournament last year. These beautiful images right here were caught by the Rough Inlet's YouTube channel as Catch 23, Michael Jordan's boat exits Jupiter Inlet. This is the boat that was used in these tournaments, which is an 80-foot Viking sport fish with an estimated value worth over $8 million. And I'm sure we'll see this boat entered in several more tournaments this year. Our next story is I Can't Believe It's Not Butter and comes from Norway, and guys, let me know in the comments below whether you believe this one or not, because I had a little trouble believing this one even though it does come from what appears to be a reputable source in Norway. Apparently the Norwegian Coast Guard was called to the scene where a vessel had landed itself on shore, due to the vessel apparently taking on water. Once the tide receded, the Coast Guard noticed that there were holes in the hull of the vessel. The Coast Guard actually went into the provisions and grabbed margarine. Apparently margarine, if applied correctly to the hull of a boat in the right temperatures, will harden like a putty and assist in keeping water outside of the vessel. The Coast Guard remained with the vessel while the tide came in. Once the tide raised, they actually hooked onto the boat and towed it into port where it was pulled out safely. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to St. Paul, Alaska, where Aaron Lesnikov was out enjoying a day, taking some photographs when all of a sudden he happened to catch one of the fleet's fishing vessels returning back into St. Paul Harbor in rough weather. The scene right here is absolutely insane. I love inlet content with the rest of them, but this one's wild, watching this massive ship try and battle these massive waves as it comes back into the harbor. And as you'll see as it approaches, the harbor is actually a fairly small entrance as well. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch this. If you're really interested in it, Aaron Lesnikov has a whole 3-minute video on Facebook. Just search out his name on Facebook. I'm sure the video will pop up and you guys can watch the entire video there. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening in your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Aaron Lesnikov, Rough Inlets, John Booth, Jill Johns, David Lund, Jamie Yeoman, and Kevin McElroy did this week. And if you haven't already guys, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button. If not, we're coming to steal your drain plug.